Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander Epic. And you have to go back pretty far in the annals of Guilecast to find, and maybe it's only happened once or twice, I'm not even sure. It might never have happened at all, but I think I can remember at least one or two where we've had a Supreme Commander Epic that's also doubled as a ladder match, but it certainly doesn't come around very often. Where can this magic possibly have taken place, Guile? I hear you say. Well, there's surely only one map likely enough to candor on any regular basis to that kind of epicosity. You know what I'm talking about, the infamous Isen's Clutch. And the best news is there's no news, so we can get straight to the action. Turn off your phone, disconnect your doorbell, sit down, strap in, and prepare the lotion. It's Supcom time. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Ching, ka-ching. We know what we're dealing with here. The classic, the infamous Isen's Clutch. Let's take a look at our players. Up here at the top in the blue corner, it's none other than Isen. That's right, I have a special place in my heart for this guy. Not because I know him or anything, but he featured in what must have been probably one of the first 5 or 10 casts that I ever did, and it always stuck in my mind. Tag Voi Vitu, I think, was the map. Might be making that up. I do that a lot, as you well know. But here he is, and it's lovely to see these old guys still playing. He's probably younger than me, but old guys in terms of faff. And here he is. He's going UEF. How very sensible, opening first land. His opponent down here in the red corner, going the spiky space socialists. It's Inspector Cot going Cybrin, opening first and second land. So it's the quintessential Cybrin versus UEF battle. And can we just take a moment? I meant to mention this, like, actually, I've probably got to split screen so you guys can examine their glorious openings. I know how you like to pretend they're yours. I meant to mention this like 3 casts ago. We ticked over not so long. Look at the replay ID up here. 10 million registered games of FAF. 10 million. That's extraordinary. Admittedly, an awful lot of them are one guy starting up a game for 2 minutes, building a Seraphim factory by himself, you know, building 2 engineers, a thing, and then starting another game, building an engineer from an Aeon factory and 2 things or whatever, and doing that repeatedly. There's a lot of those games, admittedly, in there, people testing stuff, but still, that's an incredible testament to the platform that Zep built all those aeons ago when GPG was failing and eventually collapsed and all that, and decided to pull all of that stuff, all of the server support and everything. And to everybody who's put in so much work afterwards, that is just extraordinary that we've had that much success, that much gameplay. So thank you so much to everybody who's had a hand in it. I'm not going to mention names, you all know who you are, there's too many to mention. But if you've helped or contributed in any way to FAF, thank you so much. You are entirely responsible for the community as it stands today, and we all salute you. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Engineers for Isen, building just about all the land factories in the world. Slightly different setup. Inspector Cot's going land, and what looks like air. Have we got an air factory for Isen? Yes, we do. And that's coming off the back of this engineer up here next to the hydro for adjacency bonus. But the biggest difference for these 2 starts, as far as I can observe for the time being, Inspector Cot keeping the comm in the middle of the base, using that build capacity, but Isen playing this very much like a Causeway player in a regular 4v4, going on his tour down to the center to scoop up the highly valuable mass down here. It might not sound as crazy as you might think that Inspector Cot not going up there. There is a lot of mass to be gained in this. I mean, all of the mass that you'd have in a 4v4 on Inspector Cot's side of things, all, as one person might put it, going to his coffers and no one else's. We're not talking teams, this is all going to be his mass, but that's latent, that's coming down the road. Isen's going to get a huge mass boost. Right now they were pretty much the same, about 2.5 apiece, but Isen is going to get a huge boost now. You can see him filling up his mass bar there, scooping away. Lots and lots of joy to be had. And lots of monies. I like the monies. And already we can see that difference. Inspector Cot is on his way though, and he's moving out with a whole bunch of Mantis first of all. And in fact, the first Mantis is going to stop short of Isen there. We can go back to single screen. We already have an Inti out with some coverage over the top. Now, he's not encroaching. He knows that's likely to be the comm. Instead, he wants to get into the backfield and cause mischief amongst the engineers up here. So he's going to do a run by, ignore the comm. I still can't get over this. We're at 5.5 versus 3.9, and that gap's only going to increase. No engineers in here. Got to wait until the comm gets to the center. If there's any mass left, I mean, there surely will be some, but the lion's share will already have gone to Isen, I humbly suggest. Way quicker out with his airplay, though, Inspector Cott than Isen. Scout planes already buzzing around the backfield up here. Engineers for Isen over at the beach already. All 4 core mass picked up there and working on the land factory. First kill of the game, but not going to go to this Mantis. Yes, it is. I thought he was going to stray out of range, and his buddy Dave here was going to pick up the kill. Alas, wasn't to be the case. He'll always be known as the Mantis that turned up late to the party and got zipped, and might even die first, as it seems. It sure seems that way. Poor old Dave. Never any luck, but that's a pretty successful little engage there, and he's got a lot of extras turning up to boot as well, so we should hold this little portion, this corner of the map for the time being. Back to the center, Eisen's still scooping, taking the odd shot from a Medusa as that rolls past, but he's still looking pretty healthy. 11,600 of 12,000 HP. Down goes an engineer there for Inspector Cott. Isen replays the complement. 11k versus 6.6k there between these two. That's a massive opening advantage. The question is, did he have the ability to spend all that, or was a lot of that mass wasted? If it goes over your mass storage limit, you carry on scooping, and you don't have any teammates, that mass is gone, never to return. I still think we should have little piles of mass poo forming outside of the mass storage, which you could scoop again later. Wouldn't that be awesome? That would be awesome. Some dev needs to make that happen. I need some mass poo in my life. But anyway, Eisen's going to back off. Is he going to yield the rest of this field over to Inspector Cott? Certainly seems that's what he's intended to. No, he's just going to back up to the edge of it on his side of things. There seems to be a lot more T1 spam massing down here for Inspector Cott, and we have got a little group up here as well. Decent number of strikers forming back here, but definitely still fewer in number to Inspector Cott's, which are nearer the center of the causeway there. They should have the advantage against this merry band of Mantis and its solo Medusa. And they keep all of those assault bots out of essential areas in that base. Let's have a quick look at income, though. Isen up 44 to 37, and then of course it flips over 41 to 36, and then flips over again. I think it's fair to say there's a slight advantage for Isen, but it's going to be changing all of the time as more mass points get collected. Cheeky little drop over at the cliffs, though, from Inspector Cott. We've already got core mass land factory up and running over there, but he's going to take some casualties here. Isen, no units to defend, no PDs in place. They start work on one, but that's not really going to stand a chance of completing. Isen absolutely cornered, meanwhile, on the causeway. I was looking at a potential drop. You can see in the top pond there from Isen going over to the island. That looks like it's making a play over that way. Isen going to drop back into the water with his comm, take a couple of Medusa shells for his trouble as he dips his feet into the water there, but he will escape. 4,300 hit points there. Another drop, meanwhile, coming in from Inspector Cott. It is all go. Seems like more action going on in this 1v1 than you get in the opening of a 4v4. Absolutely crazy. This should get off without any difficulties, landing there just the other side of the beach. Engineers see that coming in, start work on a plasma cannon. The only problem is we've got Medusas in here. You're going to send the Mantis courageously in first and still get them wiped out? Well, potentially. Might as well send them in now and take care of the engineers if you can before they finish that PD. This is where it helps to have an accurate read on the way in with a scout plane, but didn't happen there. They missed the opportunity. The PD is completed. That's going to take care of a lot of those Mantis there. A few Medusas kicking around. Meanwhile, over at the cliffs, that base has been completely eradicated. Isen trying to contain this little group from the skies with a couple of T1 bombers. Shouldn't have any problems tidying that up, but it's a shame for Isen there to lose the cliffs. T2 upgrade on the way for Isen. That's going to serve to increase his HP dramatically so he can get back on the causeway into this fight, which seems to be reasonably static on the causeway for the time being. Inspector Cott's taking some damage, but he's still at around 75% of his health, and he seems to still be making ground. The fact that he's got that extra tanky unit and equipped with extra gun and range and everything, go along with his spam. See Isen just slowly falling back in formation though, not panicking. Needs to get some engineers up here and throw down some PDs. I don't know if that's going to happen though. He can hold his ground here potentially and counter push. There goes the volley, and there goes the Mantis. Time to move back in. They don't want to take unanswered shells from the Medusas. Fortunately they do, but that has at least stemmed the tide of that attack. Meanwhile, another drop coming in. Has that been spotted by that courier, which was lurking in the top pond here? Well, potentially. We have got, or had, an operational PD. That's got taken out. We did have a couple of Medusas left from that last drop. Another drop successfully offloaded there. And this is interesting. They've both taken their opponent's side island. So Isen dropped off here, and we've just seen down here Skyhook dropping off 4 engineers over here. They're going to get a land factory online. How's that T2 upgrade going? That's done. That's got him back up to just over 50% health, 7,900 hit points or so. Probably think about rolling back in, or at very least bring in Com back and throwing down a triad and trying to PD creep a little extra territory. Really all they need to do at this point though is lock down. Fighting over who's got an extra mechs in the middle, not going to be a game changer, especially when you're one player with the whole rest of Setton's mass flowing into your coffers. All you've got to do really is try and hold out, not let your opponent gain any ground, threaten your base, and in turn out-eco him. Any naval play on the way? Not yet for Inspector Cott or Isen. Another drop out from Isen, this time trying to retake that side island. That's already pretty well established down here. Starting to produce some assault bots, some labs. If he's paying attention here, should be able to clean up these engineers, which are dropping dead center pretty much of that island, advertising their presence. Do like that play from Inspector Cott. Anticipated the drop. Another drop coming in. Coming over, by the looks of things from the trajectory. I thought we were going to have a little attempt at a push in around the back there, but no, that is coming direct to the cliffs once again, and that cliff position still undefended. He's reclaimed the core mass in that position, but hasn't thrown down any emplacements for the time being. Still another little group from Inspector Cott running around unchecked back here. Going to be putting these mechs for Isen in jeopardy. T1 PD right on the shoreline, valiantly fighting back against a very significant numerical disadvantage over here. Very aggressive push from Isen. Must feel like he's got the numbers to cause some damage here, and he's moving more or less with the pack. That's a ZEP amp and a T2 upgrade on board Isen's comm now. Pretty chunky looking. Inspector Cott just withdrew. Still unupgraded comm there for our Cybrin player. Looks like he's retreating all the way back to base. And that was a good solid call by Isen. Both these players, high-rated players globally, you would imagine. This is, of course, ladder ranking here. 1771, 1697, two very respectable ladder rankings. Look at that push. That is a lot of extra territory gains. He going to continue surging forward, or is he going to hold and regroup? It's that judgment. How far do you keep an attack going before you end up losing more ground than you've gained? Getting very close to the base now. I can see a couple of T2 gunships, Renegades, heading up to the top of the map there for Inspector Cop, but we're going to stay with this in the center. This is pretty important. Isen's army looking a lot thinner now as it's assaulting the main base, and we've got Cerberus turrets in amongst the structures there for Inspector Cot. Isen didn't pursue with the spam. He's stuck a little bit further north, and he's throwing down land factories for quick reinforcements. They're never going to break in against the T2 PD with what you've got left. See the Cerberus turrets opening up now on that spam. And Isen wisely withdrawing, saving what he's got. He lost a lot of units, but he killed a lot of units, and he gained a lot of territory as well. So solid passage of play there from Isen. Wondering what brought that about. We've got a mass upgrade. We have got T2 up there somewhere, obviously, because we've got T2 engineers rolling around and Cerberus turrets already up and about. So one of these factories has upgraded. There it is, staring straight at it. And he went for the T2, obviously, because we saw those Renegades, T2 air factory. Saw those Renegades earlier, but they've been ousted. Did they get any work done up here? One dead mechs and one damaged mechs. That was solid interceptor coverage at the top of the map there from Isen. Unescorted gunships from Inspector Cot. Potentially a small error there. Didn't make the most of that tech advantage, but then it's difficult. I don't know how he would have got together the inties in time to really capitalize on that. Isen's got a lot of inties dotted around the map. Probably wants to bring some of them over this way as his spam is getting peppered with cluster bombs from these Zeuses. Sound right somehow, mainly because unless he's having a hangout with chums identical to him in a parallel dimension. Zeus is just one chap. Oh my god, bring in the interceptors. You've got so many of them littered about the shop. And T2 air operational for Isen as well. You can see some stingers lurking over by the cliffs. Someone must be building navy. Surely. Well, we've got one naval yard operational. First naval vessel out of it there for Inspector Cot. Second, Trident on its way right up to the coastline. And we've got a few more popping up down here. But nothing yet for Isen. And on Setton's clutch, that could be a huge oversight. He's trying hard maybe to finish this early, just pushing relentlessly up against the main base. Obviously, if you could crack this and break through, you'd stand a damn good chance of closing out the game early. But you've got to assume with a map like this, it's going to be really hard to run over your opponent inside the first 20 minutes. Especially one who's as closely matched in ladder ranking as you are. Those Stingers not faring brilliantly against this side island, just can't dislodge it. Took out the 3 mexes, but there are now, what's that, 2, 4, 6 factories on the ground over there. Really needs as a navy, but he's still not starting work on it anywhere. Back to the causeway over here. We can see bombers actually on the map crossing the bottom pond, going right up towards the cliffs position here, and actually look almost like they're drifting up towards the main base as well. Isen in the middle, focusing over here. Hello, what's that? Is that T3 mobile or is that attack missile? That looks very much like, actually it's probably T2 static, isn't it, from back here. We've got a clink hammer, yes we do. Isen, 1 clink on line, second coming up to 50% complete. cheeky little mantis. Not sure what he was trying to achieve. Circumnavigating the south side of the wall sections there and just running into a massive army of hostile forces. Look at all of these inties, these blue inties circling up here, trying to protect that position. T2 transport laden with what looks like Lobos. Some strikers in there as well. Is he making a play on the side island? Or just coming all the way over here? Trouble is, this stage in the game, you can make landfall. Maybe you can get past these inties. It looks like the secret's out over here. There's going to be a significant air engagement. But the concentration of inspectors, interceptors is looking pretty good, and that's flying very close to the air battle. I don't believe it. He's managed to scoot through. Can he get it on the ground in time? Yes, he will. It's always so easy, usually at this stage in the game, just to bring in some bombers or whatever, gunship here and there, and tidy these drops up. One bomb right in the center of that. Cause all kinds of problems. Oh, that air factory with 55 HP remaining somehow manages to survive. So as the blue forces, Lobos and tanks just drift out of range. We're now getting to a bit of artillery spam. Oh, juicy. Look at that. Clink me up. Totally impartial, of course. And it's not because I have fond memories of Isen. It's just because he's playing UEF. Secretly always support the UEF and pretend to be impartial. I am impartial, really. I'm not really vested in the outcome one way or the other. Don't believe what you hear in The Guardian. They're always talking shit about me. Shield holding. See some shield coverage in the main base for Inspector Cod. He's going to start losing T2 P-Gens. Interesting explosion there, landing flush on the pad. With no fire in any way, shape or form. Up in the top pond, those tridents not really doing anything. It's to get some cruisers online or something. Start engaging the main base. That'll provoke Isen into a strategic transition into something else. Force him to go Navy and respond. T2 radar being rebuilt. Got the odd Gunther here and there. Hello. Air mobiles. T3 mobiles online, and this is a problem for Isen. Now, how he's going to keep up with that level of counter bombardment. He's got shields, but they're taking a walloping. And shield down, 2 remaining. He has managed to get second demolisher of his own up front. He's bringing in parashields now. Oh, but the second shield's down. There goes the T2 P-Gen he was working on. It's to get the parashield in to defend the P-Gens. It's going to be a tall order to hold this position. Ah, it's gone. Isen going to be forced to withdraw. Solid play from Inspector Cod, of course, with the home field advantage, producing trebuchets and getting them to the front line in short order. Always ever so much easier. Nearly worked. And Inspector Cott chipping at his heels mass-wise, 167 to 173, but there's still a 10k difference between the two. It's actually in favour of Inspector Cott. He has done the majority of the mass scooping in this game now. Very different from when we last looked at that at the beginning. Isen had the early mass in the centre. Well, all of the debris collected from the tank battles has been recycled, and most of it's gone Inspector Cott's way. And this is going to be interesting. There's not going to be any ranged weaponry online in the main base, and accompanied with its own onboard air defences, that cruiser will be able to cause all kinds of problems. Range there tells you everything you need to know. Lovely little bit of aerial harassment from Inspector Cott over at the cliffs. He just has not let this position get up and running, and it's actually a solid bit of target selection because it's helping him hold on to this side island over here. Meanwhile, speaking of side islands, he's actually assaulting Isen's position over in the west from the skies as well, just taking down the mexes, working on that factory as well. Look at these vulnerable P-gens. So much vulnerable power gen. Oh man. That's not what you want. Hostile cruiser lurking off your shore. No easy way to hit back at it. In any minute that fusion reactor is gonna go. Down. Isen determined not to relinquish his position. He's backed up a bit, still holding on to his land factories, working on shield production, counter pushing with his spam. He's got some Percys in here now. What he can really do against all of this spam is to get some Titans on the way as well. The Percys to pick off the trebuchets. Alleviating some of the pressure on the base, but look out, Strat Bomber inbound right over the top. What's his target? Is he coming straight onto the main base? One fusion generator down. What's that done to Isen's power? Well, he's alright, but he doesn't want to lose another one. That Strat Bomber's not coming for the main base, instead seems intent on working the causeway. "24 minutes gone in this one. 217 to 200 mass income in favour of Inspector Cott. Both equal on power, although that's for the time being. Second fusion reactor down and out, and he's still not got any way to hit back. Might have spoken too soon. He's been working on some torpedo bombers. And that will be enough. Just in the nick of time. Isen has altered his production somewhere because he was flatlining against that production just a few seconds ago. Nice cheeky little Percy drop over here to the cliffs on Inspector Cott's side. Wants to get them moving and microing though. Absorbing a lot of unnecessary fire. We've got a cruiser up here. It's like a mass assassination mission. Two are going to get tickled to death by crazy amounts of mantis. Oh. Well and truly dealt with, but he did manage to clear a couple of core mexes there, and once again Isen's been driven off. And now he's losing those manufacturing facilities over here, and I'm wondering if not going Navy is going to cost him. He still hasn't got a single naval yard up and running. Not one. I don't see how you can continue on this map without one. Meanwhile, Strat Bomber making its way into the backfield here. That would be a juicy one right in there. Take out just about everything. After the T2 mechs, get that in one pass. T3 mechs, I believe, needs a second one. He's already taken out all of the mechs in the backfield. We have got that core mass around that, what would be the air player starting position on Team 1. We have got ASFs defending now, though. He's losing mechs. He's going to lose another one, but that should be the end from that bomber. There it goes. But look at that differential now. 224 to 154 after that last engagement. Inspector Cott sitting pretty. He's the only one with Navy. And he's the one dishing out all of the damage. Torpedo bombers working on the frigate fleet over here. It really was, I think Isen just threw absolutely everything at that fight for the main base, fight for the causeway. He thought if he could just run over Inspector Cott, he anticipated him, you know, covering all the bases, covering the air, going to Navy maybe in both ponds, all of which he's done, but he just didn't have the firepower to push through and break this base. If he had, actually all might have been a problem for him, all of that mass expenditure. Now Isen is playing catch-up, and catch-up in a pretty big way. Might as well get these cruisers involved, sail them up, back in over here. Gonna be tough taking down 3 of those with Storks. Expensive pastime going after cruisers with torpedo bombers. One very badly damaged factory, land factory there, and a couple of air ones, 2 Perseus, no Titans, sorry, strutting their stuff back up the causeway. Inspector Cott going for a stealth upgrade on the comm. Interesting. This would just be my absolute nightmare, trying to cover all of these bases by myself. To have APM out the wazoo, whatever the wazoo is. Terrible place to park your gunship. I thought the water alone was enough of a deterrent. Come the torpedo bombers once again. It's going to be costly. It will be effective. It'll take out a few of them. Might manage to get all of them, but it's going to lose a lot of torp bombers in the process. The AoE. Surprisingly effective. Have they nerfed the Cybran AA? That's on a postcard, if you know the answer to that one. Incidentally, they did mention in the previous cast about the overcharge. They have altered overcharge, thanks to all those enlightening us in the comment section. It now scales off the amount of stored power you've got, apparently the amount of damage you do. So it's no longer a one-size-fits-all. again, picking a fight with a hill and not managing to win it. Solid P-gen placement. Some of them are getting through though. And still, the stubbornness. I've never seen anything like it from Isen not to try and produce a navy. I mean, I know he's a long way behind, but how do you expect to continue with that? Ouch. He has actually got some power to spare, even after losing that. It's 12k for Isen versus 8.4 from Inspector Cott, so he has built redundancy into the system. Here we go. So an attempt to form a naval counter defense. He's chosen the top pond either by design or that's because that's where the com was, and he's got the T2 engineering suite. Helped pump those out nice and quickly. He went straight for a Tsunami, the T2 torpedo launcher there. It's providing good solid cover from these frigates that are lurking. Do a lot worse than to get these cruisers involved over here, take out the torpedo launcher, and then try and stifle the frigate production that Isen's got going on over here. Inspector Cott with a 35 mass point advantage. That sounds wrong. It sounds like he's got 34 actual mass points. 34 units of mass per tick advantage. Fat Boy under construction. Well, that's one way to fight back against the old cruiser spam, which Isen is suffering from. There's the response to the naval yard production. Gonna need more than 2 cruisers though, I think. Whole round of frigates about to complete all at the same time. And they're gonna be gunning for you. There they go. Down goes the torpedo launcher. Stalk assistance as well. Those torpedo bombers actually been faring remarkably well. After everything I was saying earlier. Just didn't get to that critical mass of cruiser spam. Gateway pumping out resource preset, RAS preset support commanders for Isen. We got the same deal going on over here. Imagine there'd be quantum gateways going up. Question is, where could it be? There are so many little pockets of development. Doesn't actually look like it. I don't actually think Inspector Cott has one yet. Interesting. Isen must be scooping mass somewhere. Can't just be down to the support commander preset. RAS preset. It's 366 to 299. That's a very steep overtake. genuinely looks like a legit total there, that 360 odd. And that's extraordinary. He's completed the Fat Boy as well. And look at this business. Engineers up front for Inspector Cott throwing down naval factories. Right off the cliff edges of the causeway there, off Isen's base. It's going to have problems contending with that fatty that's about to roll into range. Massive tracer spam all over the bottom pond. Cheap, reliable intel with irritating defensive capabilities against torpedo bombers, and that's really what Inspector Cott's been suffering from. He's not really focusing on naval spam right now, certainly not in the bottom pond. Not sure how and why Inspector Cott is letting him get back in this. It's dead even pretty much. 386. It was 386 and 380. Inspector Cott just drops back to 366. And territorial-wise, it's pretty similar as well. Inspector Cott technically has a lot of ground in the water, but a lot of ground in the water, you know what I mean, a lot of territory in the water, but that is diminishing very quickly thanks to the stalks over here and the frigate army flotilla, whatever you want to call it, in the top pond. Fleet rolling forward. Is that anti-aliasing that's causing that problem? Horrible squaring off of the graphics. Answers on a postcard if you know the answer to that one. I always think that I've got that deactivated. And look at the spam that's coming with this now. Oh, look at that. A Percy-laden Continental. There are a few things in this life that give me more aesthetic satisfaction than that. They were just built to carry those into battle. Just beautiful. It's going the wrong way, unfortunately, but we could imagine how nice it would be if it was going in the other direction. This is a wondrous counter push, and Inspector Cott, having gone from, he was sort of high 200s a while ago when we were first surprised that Isen had overtaken him, and now he's up into the 450s. That's what he's been doing. He's been teching up his eco, lots of engineers on the move, going around completing these upgrades on the Mexes, the T3. And Subcom really goes like that. The lulls in activity. And you're going to want to move your spam because that does not fare well against incoming Fat Boy artillery fire. Units on the move, making their way back to Inspector Cott's base. How far is he going to come down with that Fat Boy? That's the question. That Continental, if you look on the mini-map, looks like it's going to the cliffs there on the top pond. See how he fares with that. Look at the drops ready over here. It's all T1 mostly. Inspector Cott lining up for a big one there, but down go the Percivals. No flak or T3 anti-air with them. Oh, please get them on the move. Get a kill order going. There it is. Go out on a limb and say that's going to be the end of that little forward cliff edge base. Massive T1 bomber response. Whoa. Down goes one Percy, and others at about 50%. Oh, don't waste time on the NGs. Kill those mexes. Well, that mex goes down from collateral damage. Still 4 Percys alive. Check out the Fat Boy rolling in on the main base, though. That's continued to push forward as the T1 bombers and whatnot cover the cliff edge. Oh, wasted target prioritization. Fat Boy retreats a little bit as a counter push comes out from Inspector Cot. Isen brings the rest of his spam forward. Once again, we're seeing what looks like Gunther fire from back here, landing on the shields of the Fat Boy this time. Forward come the Titans, and they start laying in to the T1 spam that still makes up the bulk of this army. Bricks following in behind. There are the odd Percy in there. Shield down on the Fat Boy. The last of the Percivals over at the cliffs have been taken out. In come the cruisers. Have Fat Boy now well and truly exposed. That's going to be a delightful mass gift in very friendly territory soon for Inspector Cot. Down it goes. Ouch. So nearly a wondrous bit of play, but just lacked the ability to protect it. That's one of the drops we saw earlier lurking over on that side of things. ASF locks onto it just too late. The drop full of moles. Is that the only thing that made it through? Did all of the other transports get shot down in the middle of that? Quite possibly. Lovely little drop down here. Continental didn't make it, but the Demolishers sure did. T1 bombers dispatched. Won't take them long to kill it all off, though. What a shame. It's all very expensive. Not worth it in the slightest there to kill 1 T2 mechs and 4 mass storage. Isen in retreat once again on the causeway, with the exception of his support commander that's lurking under a T2 shield gen here. He's working on a Ravager, and it looks like he's queued up a pretty solid Ravager creep. Whether he gets to utilize that or not remains to be seen. Another massive stalk bombing run takes down that Siren cruiser with relative ease. In come the ASFs, though. Might as well lock onto the other cruisers as quick as you can. Can they get another volley off? Probably not. Most of them going to die now in this ASF pass. They might be able to kill it, though. Yeah, they managed that. So there go the cruisers that primarily responsible, I think, for taking down that Fat Boy. But no sooner do they get sunk, another triumvirate, naval triumvirate turns up to guard the lower section of the causeway. Now large ASF entanglements right above those cruisers. That will sort Inspector Cod out nicely. I'll be happy with that. Strap bomber over in the east, just making landfall. Whoa. T2 mechs and 2 tanks down there. Notice how he's not wasting time trying to take out the T3s. He's just going for single runs, passes with targets he knows that he can kill in one bomb. Going to get another one off before the ASFs from Isen catch him. Gets a bomb away. It's another mech's down. Nicely done. 582 to 494. Another massive shift over that passage of play in fortunes. 43 minutes gone in this game now. Storks get caught out unnecessarily. Hello! A nuke out back. Probably should have done a little check for those. But it's been pretty action-packed. It's been hard to keep track of everything. But that nuke heading almost directly diagonally across the map. Is that going to hit the center, or is it going for the main base, I wonder? That could be a juicy little takeout right in the middle. Oh, that's sails overhead. It's going further into the backfield. Do we have anti-nuke? Yes, we do. How very disappointing that that wasn't scouted. Much better nuke would have been to land right there. Taken out a bunch of this spam and this whole forward position. Mind you, this row of Gunthers looks like it's getting work done. Inspector Cott. Oh my god, that's obscene. 15 Gunthers. Take a moment to see where these guys. So look at that, it's right on the edge of the range there. Two batteries just about cover sections of each other's territory. What's Isen's battery? Together. Once those shields go down, that is it. Horrid looking cruiser fleet. And another attempt to get serious amounts of naval yards online, this time in the bottom pond. That's not gonna go well. These cruisers have advanced in good time, but just look what's happened into the top pond, man. So many frigates, and we're starting to see some Governor class cruisers turning up, and that's going to cause problems now for Inspector Cott holding on to this cliff position. You can see massive Zappa batteries being spammed up there to try and counteract the UEF cruiser base missile platforms. Gunships over here, they're being brought in, but there's going to be so much anti-air there. Would you look at that? Faring a lot less well than the mass Storks have been. They're at least getting their bombs off. Now we're just getting to that quantity of cruisers I was talking about, that critical mass. It's so hard. Oh, he's thinned it out a bit. 5 cruisers left. I like that. Look at that line of demolishers. Got lurking in the middle with his strap bombers. Oh. Now, who's winning this war down here? So interestingly, a lot of the Gunthers down here have been taken out. It's largely due to the massive and continuous shield spam we've seen from these support commanders from Isen. Just goes to show you, this map is so big, you can build no navy, lose effectively both ponds, and still be able to spam up, switch tack, spam up, and counterattack and secure at least one of the ponds. 5 dead cyber and naval yards up here from Inspector Cott. Now, long-range, brutal missile bombardment. Slowly taking apart the cliff base. Large banks of zappers already online in the main base.
Strategic launch detected.
Alright, where are we going with this one? Interesting. Well, we haven't actually noticed. Isen has managed to take out that side island, but is still holding on just about to the one in the west. Nuke looks like it's heading for the cliffs. That's going to take down some emplacements and 4 T2 mexes, assuming it lands there. Let's see why it would go any deeper. And there's the parabolic drop. Well, why not? Might as well put it to use. 4 T2 mexes down. Look at that mass difference. 611, 627 even to 477. That is enormous. And yet, look at the story that map control is telling. 2 very different versions of the same game. So many missiles raining down, admittedly not down on anything majorly important just yet. Is he moving up with the commanders? And they're still reinforcing that position over here. Governors need to be brought into the bay down here. Of course, he doesn't want to expose them to massive Gunther fire, of which there is a lot in here now. Apologies for the sheer quantity of zooming in and out. I know how it affects some of you, but it really is the only way get a measured look at everything. What is that? So we've got some T3 static artillery. Where is that coming from? Where are you coming from? It's blatantly just been on my screen and I've missed it. Seems to be coming from, there it is. So 1 disruptor in place just southwest of that little central lake. Give you an idea what he can hit with that. Everything in that main base. Actually got a nuke launcher on the way as well for Isen. And for the moment, at least, a lot of his power grid is still exposed. We've got T3 shields going up, but if Inspector Cott can chain these power plants, that could dramatically reverse his fortunes right now. Just look at the sheer amount of missile spam coming in. So many missiles raining down. Reactor's gone. Just doesn't matter how many zappers you build, you just can't keep that quantity of spam out forever. Eventually it'll break through. Support commanders trying to advance their position. They've strolled forward and throwing down new rows of T2 shield gens. Sacrificing some T1 spam now to try and pile in the pressure on the shields. Let another volley of missiles through. Oh, he's going after the SMD and he's got it. Has he got a nuke ready to go? We saw him building a nuke launcher a minute ago. There it is. It's nowhere near ready. It's about 50% done. Quite frankly, at this rate, don't need a nuke, at least to tackle the main base. This has been outstanding governor work. The spam is just unreal. And I think Inspector Cott saw this coming. Support commander going pop in the middle, which is why he's dropped back and he's started to put things together over here. New strategic missile defense is a priority. Wants to defend that static T3, and I don't blame him. So much frigate spam. And yet still there's 100 mass difference between these two guys. 661 versus 563. It might have been a power lock. Just jumped up to 635 for Isen. That's dramatically changed the picture. 635. Oh man, that nuke launcher looking very exposed. He's managed to cover and shield most of his power grid, but there's a few vulnerable looking facilities here. Oh my god, get that support commander to shield the nuke. And the anti-nuke, there is another one there. Yeah, that front base now essentially a lost cause. A shame about the nature of the bombardment. If he does manage to move up and capture this territory, there won't be any wrecks left to harvest because all of the extra incoming missiles destroying the wreck before they can select the next target. Interesting, that Fat Boy wreck in the background still lying there, never got scooped. Isen was never able to break out comfortably enough and collect that. Be nice. Why don't you pick the one in the center so it affects both directions fully? Absolutely superb governor work. We've got another disruptor battery over here. Lots of shield gens on the way to protect that. So that's 2 operational T3 statics for Inspector Cott in 2 different locations. And it's getting work done. He wants to fire that nuke. He wants to fire it now. Please don't waste the nuke. This is horrible. Absolutely horrible. It's like watching my kids trying to play a sport. It's like, oh my god, just put the ball in the net. It's wide open. It's wide open. Fire the missile. I know you're busy. I know there's so many things to think about right now. Fire the missile. Or shield it or something. That shield's too far away. Oh, I might have to pull my fingernails out. It might have to be done now. That's painful. That's so painful. Nuke launcher taken out before it could fire. It wasn't even trying to fire at that particular moment in time. But they've been at this now for 56 minutes, and this is not like playing your average game of Sevens for 56 minutes where you take your little battle, be it the causeway or the pond or whatever, or air, and you focus on that. No, this is everything for an hour, so expect extreme SOPCOM head, extreme mental fatigue to set in. This is brutal and unrelenting levels of concentration, and would you look at what's going down here? We've got a lot of strategic missile submarine spam going on. 4 of them in the bottom pond now for Inspector Cott. About Isen's ability to protect this power grid. Torpedo bombers en masse going after that little group of sirens. They're going to get one of them and then get annihilated by Inspector Cott's entire air force. Let's do a quick ASF count there, because that's a thing of beauty. 162 ASFs there for Inspector Cott, and we'll contrast that with some ASFs for Isen if I can find them. There they are. 138, so pretty sizable advantage for our Siren player. Powerful as the governors are, they're not quick. It's taken them a long time to chew through this base. In the meantime, it's basically been relocated. And we've got another disruptor battery going on over here for Inspector Cott. That's going to make 3. Little templates popping up all over the place, if they are templates. Seem to be different every time, so I don't think so. Spy planes rolling in for a quick pass. They're not going to get very far. A lot of anti-air coverage, not just from Inspector Cott's Air Force, but we've got a lot of Myrmidons dotted around on here to keep the riffraff out. Calling Isen riffraff, but certainly doesn't dress for all occasions. 133 hit points left there, and you see we're starting to see these shield gens fading now. With more disruptors on the way, Isen needs to come up with something to deal with these. Nothing seems to be forthcoming. I'd say this is a classic example of strategic fatigue right now. Classic dreaded SOPCOM head. And it's dangerous as well, because it looks like he's making a lot of progress. He's breaking this area down, and he is advancing up the causeway. His main base looks like it's in major threat. Worth noting, though, seems to have been overtaken Inspector Cott. 779 to 649. That is something like the 9th or 10th lead change we've seen in this game. Something crazy. Unshielded P-Gens coming under fire. He has got a lot of redundancy 17,000 plus power, so he can afford to lose a few. Doesn't want to lose them all though. Support commanders over here, all RAS preset, so that will be contributing a pretty penny to his economy. Nice little engage there. He brought the Stingers in. Provokes the aerial response from Inspector Cott. Inspector Cott bites. And he's back down to 162, which is pretty much what he was at last time we looked. Just so many missiles and zappers. God knows what. Demolishers moving in. He needs a decent group of Percys marching down. That's what he needs. Now, where are we at? Another Demolisher completes. How much... sorry, Disruptor. Oh, I just can't talk today. So that's 3. And it is starting to take a toll. Isen now has to be in 3 places, working on his fleets, target prioritization, building up down here, and also rebuilding and defending up here, trying to keep these artillery shells out. Roll right into some trouble here. Strolls into range of a brand new Cerberus bank that's being thrown together here. The artillery shells will soon be raining down. Those demolishers stop and take the chance to fire a volley or two. This couple of skyboxers and Titan catch the ASFs on the ground, and it's still just hovering above those 2 flak units. Got a lot of Continentals here. We're starting to see Titans. We've got some kind of mass Percy production going, maybe out of range up the Disruptors up here or something. It wouldn't be that difficult to ferry them down to reasonably safe territory next to the air coverage these governors are providing, and launch an attack down here or whatever. Maybe take out one of these Disruptors, make life just a little bit easier. Look at that, 951 to 667. Inspector Cott way behind on eco. Suddenly, the question is Isen making the most use of it? So he's built a large number of T1 factories up there. Large air engagement over the top of Inspector Cott's base. One hour, 4 minutes gone. Corsairs dispatched to engage some of these ground forces. That's gone really well in the skies for Isen. Begging for a nuke in there. See, wouldn't you be taking this time to relocate your base back a bit in here? Because it would all be pretty much out of range, I think, of these Disruptors. drop it into here or something, all of this stuff, that then becomes a little useless. Use those Continentals to start ferrying the troops in. So much spam. Oh, look at that. Galaxy-class battleship. 2 of them, in fact, with a 3rd on the way. That's nearly complete. It's not actually building nukes with the strategic missile submarines. I thought that's what he was going for. Some surprise nuke attack right off the shore over here. Seems to be doing just fine with the disruptors, though. That base slowly coming apart. Now we're seeing those Continentals on the move. But that's a nice thing for Isen to see, I'm sure. Titans penetrating shield coverage. Don't want to stand too close to the reactors when they go up because they make a horrible bang. That's one artillery piece down. That will alleviate the pressure just a little. Still another 2 down here to worry about. Another support commander gets whacked. Now we're seeing the Percy or Titan stream that I wanted to see. He's gone for Titans for speed, trying to get them down there quickly. Actually think that was necessary. Could have gone for Percy's and airdropped them, but then they are cheaper as well. Can get more spam out quicker. Finally going to see the end of this cliff base that's taken so long for these governors to chew through. The sheer number of zappers was pretty insane. 28 still operational. That's but a fraction of how many Inspector Cott had in there. But this is interesting now. First bit of solid counter pressure from Inspector Cott we've seen for a while. 2 operational Galaxies, a couple of flanking cruisers there, those Sirens, 2 more Galaxies done down here. Stage where there are just so many support commanders, I think, out for Isen. It doesn't really matter now that he's losing power plants. His economy is pretty mobile. Titans versus Loyalists. Engaging on the ground in amongst the carnage of missiles raining down on the battlefield. Just insane. One hour, 9 minutes gone. Another group of Loyalists up at the back. Might get one zapper done. Oh, he changed target. No point. Might have, well, tried to finish off that zapper. Merry band of Titans. look at all of this, just the emplacement spam. The Cerberus turrets, Gunthers. It's like you spent so long clearing all of this out. It's all just migrated down here. Very localized course of antibiotics, and the infections just spread. Which is, of course, essentially what a Cybran base is. It's an infection. Really are the Zerg of Sopcom. Not that they play like the Zerg in any particular way. Fortunate LZ there with demolishers up front in range of those Cerberus turrets. There's a significant amount of loyalists, defensive loyalists in play now. He was getting real solid work done on the ground initially. After that first part of pressure from the governor spam, this base fell. He was breaking through nicely, managed to take out that static T3, but Inspector Kotz responded, and he's got a solid ground force lying in wait now for these UEF raiding parties. Switching up to 1 T3, and now he's spamming out strategic missile submarines. So you're going for mass nuke spam over here. But more limited range, of course, the submarines compared to the land-based silos. So new quantum gateways going up at the back now. It really is spam the eco and keep it mobile. Isen over 1k now. That is crazy amounts of monies. I like monies. See, that would start to concern me if I was Isen, if I'm honest. He's got no way to effectively and quickly hit back against that. This whole base, this whole causeway now could be up for grabs after it feels like half an hour of solid Isen win because of his win in the top pond. Now trying to break in here because of the sheer amount of stuff, and look out, a Scathis under production, about 30% complete, and this is the new Scathis as well, if I'm not mistaken. New Scathis, which I don't know what the price is at, so it's at 220,000, so it's sort of back up to the old sort of style of pricings for the game enders, like the what you call it, the Paragon and the Maybor and stuff like that. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, you'll see why if it manages to go online. If Isen doesn't manage to spot it and take it out with one of these Titan roving parties, these marauding pew-pew bots. Everywhere Isen manages to get a band of Titans, there seems to be a whole platoon of loyalists waiting for them. And they absorb a whole load of artillery fire as well. Smoking, with flames rolling out of them, they withdraw. See, there's really not a lot going on elsewhere around here. He's not set up. He's setting up now. Lots and lots of P-gens up at the back. He's having to relocate, but with all the time he had before, he really should have been doing that earlier with how caught up Inspector Cop was, but it's so much more attempting to try and focus on that and deal the killing blow. Things not looking so great for Isen now. Lots of strategic missile submarines. 4 of those up top, but another 3 down here. Well, single file's not good for anybody. Well, I mean, it's good for Inspector Cott, but... little battle for Hill 22 on this undulating terrain, which you don't usually see a lot of action on a Settlers game. Up in the back, you don't often see a proper battle for a hill like this. Corsairs harassing those Titans that have no air coverage of their own. And look at that. With the exception of that one Cerberus turret, Inspector Cott has been removed from all of this. Of course, the problem is being mimicked over here by these galaxies. Isen about to be pushed out of everything in their range, unless he can figure out a way to take him out. If he had a nuke or something, that would be one thing, but he doesn't. Strategic missile submarines using their cruise missiles, which is ridiculously noisy. Another nuke. Now, where's that going? That's going into the backfield. Does he know? Is he scouted effectively? Is that going to get through? Because that's really going to hurt. That's that Scathis getting on. That's nearly complete as well. Oh, lordy. Now, that'll immediately open up, I imagine, on the vessels. We're going to have to take a look in a moment where that nuke's going, see how that's going to fare. But watch this. And... what? Just insane, that volley. The spray. Look at this. Oh, that nuke's coming in. We can't watch both. Ah, that's gonna land. You know what that looks like. Look at this. Ah! Run away. Brave Sir Robin. Little UEF boats. You need to scupper. And the nuke landed, and the galaxies are still there, and Isen just dropped to below Inspector Cott momentarily. That might have been reclaim related. He was ahead of him there by about 20 mass or something. Looks like that was reclaim related. Next volley out. Have a look at the range. The range is everywhere. Scathis can hit everything with that ridiculous spray. Just unseemly. Dare I say overpowered as a game ender. A lot of those going off map, but it's just the perfect weapon for this kind of game because its area of effect is enormous and it deals with the huge spread out sprawling nature of a game. Look at it, the next volley just took out like 20 ships in one shot. And what has been bugging Inspector Cott this whole time, this fleet of governors, is now but a mere annoyance to be dealt with. Look at it! I dare say imbalanced. So you think, I mean, it's similar price to the Mavor. You think how long it would take the Mavor to chew through that? I mean, if you're going to do that, the Mavor needs to, like, be immune to shields, have some kind of skipping technology that allows it to, like the Tembler bomb. Who remembers the Tembler bomb? Shout in the comments section if you do. But something like that that phase skips in through the shields or something, because that's obscene. Look at that volley and look at the damage it's about to do and the amount of area it's about to affect. It's just insane. That's the next volley. I think that might be excessive, chaps. I'm a huge fan of your work, devs, but I think that might be excessive. I'm just saying. But it certainly is a game ender. You can't call it much else. The further afield it goes, I was about to say, the more it spreads out. But you've got quite a few shots in tight grouping there, landing on that shield gen. Super noisy now with these strategic missile submarines. It's like you've got to figure out a way to take care of that Scathis, or you are down and out. Just insane. And now look at this, the first Cybran units we've seen pushing north across the causeway for what feels like 40 minutes. That little bank of clink hammers now undefended, once so crucial at knocking aside Inspector Cott's forward position. What's the Poxy Duke gonna do against that? Actually surprised there's anything left here at all. I suppose there's a hill here which is blocking a lot of these incoming shots. Isen is still in the lead on mass production, though. Of course, so much of his eco will be tied up in these support commanders. But it's like, how on earth do you get back into this now? Because trying to get any kind of new base together under that kind of fire is going to be next to impossible. Is he building nukes out of here, or is it if they're in missile launch mode, do they not build nukes? Can't remember exactly how it works. Just using them for their long-range cruise missile capabilities. So damn noisy, though. And the disruptors, yeah, I think it is, focusing in on that side island in the west, which, to Isen's credit, he still holds. I mean, not for much longer. He's going to be ousted by a long-range artillery strike, but at 1 hour 21 minutes to hold your opponent's island on Settons, that's quite impressive. Work hurriedly going on to try and fend off those galaxies. Oh, he's starting a laser. Do you really need a laser? Really? Oh, the nuke that's come out has come out from one of the strategic missile submarines. It's going after the Scathis and the bug that's landed there. Is it going to make it? Oh my god, it's going to make it! And the ACU's covered by enough shields, but holy crap! How was that not guarded? The Soul Ripper tanks that easily, but the artillery, the Scathis, and its wreck are just gone. Just gone. So, I mean, that's pretty great for Isen, but the damage, is it already done, is it? Laser complete on board Inspector Cott. He's got T3 Engineering Suite, he's got the cloak. He's going to go invisible, invisible, microwavy, microwavy. Flay the skin off your opponent, baby. That was a lovely little bit of nuke action. Did he take out the nuke defense that was guarding it beforehand with the other subs and then shove a missile up his backside? A nuke, maybe. But look at this. You remember how built up this was 15-20 minutes ago? It's just gone. Still only one cruiser left, but all of the original 5 galaxies still here, still causing problems. Support commanders valiantly holding on to the position at the cliffs, not on the core mass, but still. And they look like they're pulling out now. He's like, you know what, you can play that game, I'm going to start a Mavor. Well, you've got a long way to go, my friend. 500 hit points and 8,000 done. 1 hour, 24 minutes, and still no definitive winner in sight. How many battleships are we looking at now, galaxy-wise? So we're up to 8. We've got 5 Siren Class cruisers in the pond there and 4 strategic missile submarines, 2 of which are in cruise missile mode. And still, of course, we've got these disruptors dotted about the place. We're starting to see more and more bugs in production. Another one under construction down there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Soul Rippers. Another Soul Ripper under construction there. Another Scathis under construction there. Look at the sheer amount of mass fab farms that Inspector Cod has been building over time here. See, I much prefer the support commander route. So now at least you're mobile. You can use the support commanders to produce stuff as and where it's needed. I actually think it's better, even after all of the pummeling and all the loss of territory inflicted by this long-range tactics from Inspector Cott. Isen's still ahead, 831. That might be a power lock though. Yeah, so it's not actually the case. Inspector Cott is ahead, but it's not by much. It's about 30 odd, 25, 30 mass. So you're talking about these kind of figures, that's not enormous. Isen has actually pulled in more mass over the course of the game. 2.71 million mass versus 2.65 million mass. That's pretty significant. But here we go. Da 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 da. Where are the ASFs for Isen? So they've spotted Inspector Cott on the move. Kill order's been given, potentially flying over the battleships now. Inspector Cott responds. Soul Rippers are going to back off slightly. We can see how things go on this engage. There's not a big difference in the number of ASFs. It's pretty even. There's going to be very few left on either side at the end of this. Might be a slight win for Inspector Cott. Beating each other out in equal measure. But either way, he's going to have problems even if he does win this. Isen, he does win it. He's got in behind him. He's going to carry on peppering them, but there's not a lot of ASFs to deal with the Soul Rippers. Just enough. Doesn't want to slow boat it over there with those gunships. So again, he's going to have to back off and try and replenish. How disappointing. I was all ready for a serious aerial invasion right there. Alas, it wasn't to be. Scath is at 2,300 of 9,000 hit points. Mavor, meanwhile, 3,500-ish of 8,000. Galaxy fresh off the production line, opening up on this new base that Isen has put up on his doorstep. Isen responds with some cruise missile fire. They've got their onboard zappers, of course, the battleships, but that's a lot of damage coming his way. Another of those volleys, and he is toast into the reds. Will the base last is the question. No, it won't! The base will not last! Because there's a massive army of loyalists marching up from the south. Oh, that's a shame. Look at that bank of Ravagers that he queued up there to prevent just this sort of eventuality. That is the end of that little one. Another nuke out, this time from the strategic missile submarines off the cliffs of Isen's territory. So just, we're going en masse. It's going deep. It's going after the Mavor. If he loses that, surely he'll be thinking about throwing the towel in. One anti-nuke missile away, another one inbound. Where is the strategic missile defense? There is another one loaded, so they will not get through. So he holds on to that for just a little bit longer.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke out though.
Strategic
And
launch
another
detected.
one if they carry on going at the back. No, has he switched up? He's done a Hitler. No, one will get through. God, he's actually not done a Hitler. He's timed it perfectly. That was a reference to Hitler moving to the cities instead of carrying on bombing the RAF airfields. In case you didn't get that, it's a Battle of Britain reference. And that would be enough. I'd be like, that's it, I'm done. I'm out. 1.5 hours, you've got this.
Strategic launch detected.
I haven't actually said anything or had any kind of thing. Okay, let's go. That was a long time ago when it paused. Another nuke out. This is a land-based silo nuke from right at the back of Inspector Cott's base there. Strat bombers going to smash those loyalist columns as they make their way forward. Where is that missile going? He saw the smoke trails, that's why he's moving. His support commander's out. He's going to lose the majority of his power grid. Lost a couple of support commanders, but it doesn't even matter. But look at how much mass he's wasting. He just hasn't got the infrastructure to build anything that he needs right now with all of his eco. He's literally just sitting on massive amounts of eco without the ability to use it effectively. He's actually dropped below Inspector Cott now, 757 to 807. One lone Soul Ripper brought forward. That's been locked onto by Isen's ASFs. Interesting decision that. The other one's down here. It's a Soul Ripper kind of thrown away there. And Isen's actually done pretty damn well on that group of loyalists. There are still quite a few there, but there were so many just a moment ago. So very many. Lovely little bomb there, takes care of another 2. Looks like there's about another 10 there, but there's another large band moving up. And what's significant, see the disruptors going after the Navy now. There are no governors left. There are no... You think how many governors, how many cruisers there were down here? There is not a single one left in the top pond. They have all been taken out. Isen, I'm so tired. I don't even want to rebuild anything. That is classic Sopcom head. It's like you could have a stab at trying to stay in this and rebuild and come out with some clever new tactic or something, but he doesn't even want to because it has demoralized him that much, and I just don't blame him. How long we will play, says Inspector Cott. Well, if things carry on going on their current trajectory, I suggest not a whole lot longer. It looks like Inspector Cott might just be closing this one out. We've got Soul Rippers wandering around here, but even he's not managing to escort them properly. Hasn't focused on ASF production. That was a massive potential advantage he had there. He hasn't taken hold of it, but maybe it's because he knows he's got this that's about to complete. It's another one of those ridiculous Scathises. I'm sure it's been relentlessly tested. I'm just not sure it's balanced. I just think everyone saw it and went, yeah, that's so cool, do that. That can't be balanced. That just can't be balanced. That frigate fleet being just mercilessly torn apart now. There's not really any point for it unless he wants to get like re-established over here and start producing vessels again. Got a Soul Ripper up here lurking. Another one inbound over here. The ASF for Isen's just kind of chilling in the middle, either by design or because he just can't be bothered to defend. He is handling the strats over here and engaging the loyalists. They have been dispatched now to engage that Soul Ripper that's going after the naval yards. Should bag that one as well. There that goes. Look at that. Cormorants out. They're going after the strategic missile submarines. Certainly looks like it. Locking onto those and dealing with them nicely. There goes another one. They're shooing away the last weapons that Isen's got in this top pond that have caused so many problems for Inspector Cott throughout this game. I've got to say, hands up, hats off to Inspector Cott. If I had a shiny trophy with tenacity written on it, I would award it to you, sir, for this month at least, because it's been pretty impressive. The onslaught that he was facing down here, he lost all of this but migrated down here. I don't want to speak before the game's over, but I do think it's time to start thinking about offering commiserations to Isen. He's tried desperately to get that Mavor up. He's rebuilt it again. He's up to around the same sort of amount of hit points he was when the last one went pop. 3,500. It was near enough there or thereabouts. It's just the perfect weapon for the really spread out games. The sheer volume of shells, the amount of territory it covers. Maybe it's balanced. It's certainly very cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, maybe it's balanced. It just looks terrifying. It certainly wins the award for most intimidating weapon. Considering the UEF game ender is a 150-foot penis, or maybe bigger, that's saying something. Going after those naval yards, which are mostly T1 up there, actually. A few T3s up at the top there would have handled all of the governor production. What have you. Major scouting. He's looking now for Isen's comm. Where are we actually at with that? It's actually all the way up here. And that's going to get scouted. There it is. You're like, hello, he's not on land. I see you. We're going to suddenly see massive torpedo bomber production, or we're going to see a nuke to that spot. I think he's deep enough to avoid getting killed by that. Actually are his facilities. Yeah, it looks like he's going massive torpedo bomber to try and close it out here and now. He knows what's up. That's where the comm is hiding. But just look at the different state of affairs that we're at now. 1 hour and 37 minutes, and look, they're already closing in on the comm. Those cormorants going after Isen, who secretly knows he's going to die, but secretly thinks, thank goodness. Thank goodness this is over. Oh, sweet death, come envelop me. A few more passes like that will do the trick, especially with another whole horde of them rolling in. Look at this. This is... I love it, though. Isen not one to give up. He knows he's beaten. He's sending his ASFs in. You're not going to get me without a fight, even though I'm so tired I physically can't be bothered to build anything else. Boom. Baby. On the nose of 1 hour, 38 minutes. These guys are gladiators. They are warriors. Just as another whole shower of artillery shells was raining in, and another, what, 3 Soul Rippers was heading up into Isen's base. Just insane. 1 hour, 38 minutes. I am destroyed, but I hope you enjoyed it, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. Please, if you feel so inclined, consider donating on Patreon. Need to try and get it a bit of a bump. It's waned in recent months. All of your support is very gratefully received, and it goes to support me, the channel, and by extension the community. Thank you so much to anybody who's donated in the past and anybody who plans to in the future. Your support is invaluable and very gratefully received. Until next time, though, guys. And you know what? I'm not going to do the anti-spoiler. It's just going to end here, because that will be part of it. You'll be like, oh, there wasn't one today. So, it could end at any time. It really could end. So no anti-spoiler today. Adios. Until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.